January 26, 1966. Australia Day. A summer's morning in Adelaide, South Australia. The sun, a warm promise in a sky of cerulean blue. For the residents of Somerton Park, it was a day for relaxation, for family, for the simple joys of a beach holiday. The air, thick with the scent of salt and eucalyptus, carried the light-hearted chatter of children, the gentle crash of waves against the sand. A perfect day, in a seemingly perfect world. A world where mothers waved goodbye to their children, trusting in the familiar, the mundane, the assumed safety of their suburban streets.
Every mystery has a story, but not every story has an answer. Every week, we uncover the chilling cases that have haunted investigators for years. Unsolved disappearances, cold cases, and the darkest secrets waiting to be discovered. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Join us, if you dare. The Unsolved Chronicle.
A world where three young siblings, eager for the simple pleasure of a swim, set off on a short, well-worn path to the sun-drenched shores of Glenelg Beach. What if the fabric of that ordinary morning contained an unseen seam? A delicate thread, stretched taut, ready to snap. What if, in the space between a mother's farewell and an expected return, the world could fracture, irrevocably, leaving an unfillable void? How can three bright, vivacious lives simply vanish? Into thin air, into the boundless expanse of the ocean, or into the cold, silent grip of the unknown? This is the story of Jane, Arna, and Grant Beaumont. A story etched into the soul of a nation, a chilling reminder that sometimes, the most profound mysteries begin on the clearest of days. To understand the enduring enigma of the Beaumont children, we must return to that summer day, January 26, 1966, in the quiet, coastal suburb of Somerton Park, Adelaide. Jim and Nancy Beaumont were a devoted couple, raising their three beloved children, 9-year-old Jane Narelle Beaumont, a bright and responsible eldest sister, 7-year-old Arna Kathleen Beaumont, vivacious and energetic, and 4-year-old Grant Ellis Beaumont, the playful youngest, full of curiosity. The children were accustomed to independence, particularly for their short journey to the popular Glenelg Beach. On this scorching Australia day, they left their home at 10:15 a.m., intending to catch the bus for a 5-minute ride to the beach, swim, and return by midday. Nancy had given Jane a small sum of money, enough for bus fares and perhaps some pies for lunch. Several witnesses reported seeing the children that morning. A bus driver, familiar with the siblings, confirmed he had seen them on their usual route. Later, around 11 a.m., another witness, a woman who knew the children, observed them playing on the beach. What caught her attention was the presence of a tall, thin man with fair hair, lying on a towel near them. He appeared to be interacting with Jane. This detail, seemingly innocuous at the time, would later become profoundly significant. The children were also seen entering a local bakery around 12 p.m., where they purchased pies and pasties using a £1 note. This was a puzzling detail, as Nancy had only given Jane 8 shillings and 6pence. Where did the additional money come from? Was it a gift from a stranger, or something more sinister? The baker, knowing the children, reported that they seemed happy and untroubled. Yet, by 12:30 p.m., the children had not returned home. Nancy Beaumont grew concerned. She waited, and waited, her initial unease slowly solidifying into alarm. By 2 p.m., with no sign of Jane, Arna, and Grant, Jim Beaumont, their father, contacted the police. What followed was an immediate, unprecedented search effort. The South Australian police launched an extensive investigation, quickly escalating to a massive public search. Hundreds of volunteers combed the beach, sand dunes, and surrounding areas. Divers explored the seabed. Every possible lead was pursued. The story of the missing Beaumont children dominated national headlines, captivating and terrifying a nation. News broadcasts carried their smiling faces into homes across Australia and beyond. In the days and weeks that followed, the police received thousands of calls. Psychics offered visions, citizens reported possible sightings, and theories began to proliferate. One prominent lead emerged concerning the man seen on the beach. Multiple witnesses described a tall, thin man, approximately 30 to 40 years old, with fair hair. Some reports suggested he had been seen playing with the children, even dressing them. One witness recalled seeing him helping Jane dress Arna. Other sightings reported the children walking with a man away from the beach, near the local gardens, and even as far as the railway station. None of these leads, however, bore fruit. Despite the widespread public appeal, the deployment of every available police resource, and even an international reward offer, no trace of Jane, Arna, or Grant was ever found. Their small backpacks, towels, and clothing vanished with them. The Beaumont case became a chilling milestone in Australian criminal history, one of its most enduring and baffling unsolved disappearances. It irrevocably altered the way Australian parents viewed their children's safety and independence. The facts were stark: 3 children left for the beach on a summer's day and simply never returned. The investigation, spanning decades, would unearth numerous suspects, tantalizing clues, and heartbreaking false leads, but never the definitive answer. The parents, Jim and Nancy, would spend the remainder of their lives searching, enduring an unimaginable grief, their hopes slowly eroding against the relentless tide of time. Theories and oddities. Decades have passed since the Beaumont children disappeared, yet the silence surrounding their fate remains deafening. The initial surge of investigation eventually settled into a cold case, periodically reignited by new information or technological advancements. Over the years, several individuals have come under scrutiny, and various theories have been proposed, each with its own set of peculiar details and haunting implications. Theory 1: The Man on the Beach. The most enduring and widely speculated theory centers around the tall, thin, fair-haired man seen with Jane, Arna, and Grant on Glenolde Beach. This individual, described by multiple witnesses, became the initial focus of the police investigation. Witnesses reported seeing the children with this man on several occasions throughout that fateful morning. Crucially, the woman who knew the children observed him interacting with Jane, and later, other witnesses described him playing with all 3 children, seemingly at ease. One particularly unsettling detail is the report of Jane helping Arna to dress, a task often performed by a parent or trusted adult, while the man was nearby. This behavior suggested a level of comfort or familiarity that puzzled investigators. Further sightings placed the man with the children away from the immediate beach area, near the gardens, and even at the local train station. These observations, though numerous, never provided enough concrete detail to lead to an identification. The man was described as being in his late 20s or early 30s, tall, with a slender build and fair hair. Police even released a composite sketch based on witness descriptions. The oddity here is the apparent ease with which the children engaged with a stranger, especially Jane, who was known to be responsible and somewhat wary of strangers. This has led some investigators to speculate that the man may have been known to them, perhaps someone they had encountered before, or that he possessed an unusual charm that disarmed their natural caution. Another possibility is that he simply presented himself as a helpful adult, and the children, in their innocence, did not perceive him as a threat. The shift from their expected return home to these later sightings with an unidentified man remains one of the most perplexing and central elements of the case. Theory 2: The Arthur Stanley Brown Connection. Decades after the disappearance, another figure emerged from the shadows of criminal history: Arthur Stanley Brown. Brown, a convicted pedophile, became a person of interest in the Beaumont case in the late 1990s. The primary connection to Brown was a striking resemblance to the original police composite sketch of the man seen on Glenolde Beach. While not a perfect match, the facial features, particularly the eyes and general build, prompted investigators to take a closer look. Furthermore, Brown was known to have been in Adelaide around the time of the disappearance. He had a history of preying on children and had exhibited a pattern of moving frequently, often after committing offenses. One peculiar detail that fueled speculation was Brown's alleged confession to a cellmate in the 1970s. The cellmate claimed Brown confessed to killing the Beaumont children, stating they would never be found. While such confessions in prison can be unreliable, this, coupled with his physical resemblance and criminal history, made him a compelling, albeit circumstantial, suspect. However, there were significant contradictions and a lack of direct evidence. Brown was never formally charged, and his alibi for the day of the disappearance, though weak, could not be definitively disproven. Investigators faced challenges in linking him directly to the children, or to the specific location and time of their last confirmed sightings. The oddity here lies in the tantalizing proximity of a known predator with a physical likeness to the primary suspect, yet without the irrefutable evidence required to close the case. This theory highlights the frustrating gap between strong suspicion and concrete proof, a recurring theme in Unsolved Mysteries. Theory 3: Harry Phipps and the Factory. In more recent years, another suspect emerged, bringing with him a chilling proximity to the Beaumont family and an array of unsettling circumstantial details: Harry Phipps. Phipps, a wealthy businessman who died in 2004, owned a property and a factory just a few blocks from Glenelg Beach. The connection to Phipps came to light largely through the testimony of his son, Hayden Phipps, who claimed his father was a pedophile and that he had witnessed peculiar and suspicious behavior from him around the time of the disappearance. Hayden recounted seeing the Beaumont children on his father's property shortly after their vanishing, and stated his father had an unusual interest in young blonde children. He also claimed his father's factory basement had been dug up and reconcreted after the disappearance, a detail that piqued investigators' interest. In 2013, a significant development occurred when an archaeological dig was conducted at a factory site once owned by Phipps, based on radar imaging suggesting an anomaly in the ground. The dig, however, yielded no human remains or conclusive evidence directly linking Phipps to the disappearance. The oddities surrounding Phipps are numerous. Beyond his son's claims, there were reports from other individuals who remembered Phipps' unusual behavior towards children. One significant detail is that the Beaumont children's younger sister, Leanne, recalled her father, Jim, mentioning that Harry Phipps had given Grant a chick some months before the disappearance. This suggests an earlier, unrecorded interaction between Phipps and the children, potentially establishing a rapport. This detail, coupled with the family home's proximity to Phipps's property and factory, presents a deeply unsettling possibility. While the dig was inconclusive, the whispers of Phipps' involvement, and the claims of those close to him, continue to cast a long shadow over the case. Case status: call to action. The disappearance of Jane, Arna, and Grant Beaumont remains one of Australia's most profound and heartbreaking cold cases. The South Australian Police continue to list it as an active investigation, with the Cold Case Review section periodically revisiting all available evidence. Rewards for information leading to the recovery of the children or the conviction of their abductor have been increased over the years, a testament to the ongoing commitment to finding answers. In recent times, advancements in forensic technology, such as refined DNA analysis and enhanced digital reconstruction techniques, have brought renewed, albeit limited, hope. Every piece of archived material, every witness statement, is continuously re-examined through a modern lens, always searching for that elusive detail that might unlock the truth. The factory site connected to Harry Phipps was excavated again in 2018, though once more, no definitive evidence was found. What detail lingers in your mind from this tragic story? Which theory feels closest to the truth, or do you perceive another possibility entirely? Share your respectful thoughts and insights below. Sometimes, the coldest cases thaw with fresh eyes, with new perspectives, or with a single, crucial memory brought back into the light. The search continues, for clarity, for justice, and for peace.